presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sun.
We welcome you to Tropicana Field, where tonight the Rays are celebrating their annual Pride Night. Tonight, a very special night with 100% of the proceeds benefiting the Pulse Victims Fund. One Blood outside Tropicana Field tonight and tomorrow, collecting blood, the part of the blood drive here as we continue to pay our respects and honor those people who are a part of the mass shooting and their families. Just 100 miles from here. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We do have a baseball game later on, but tonight we talk about the Rays' annual Pride Night, and a very big night here. We are so pleased to be joined by Melanie Len. She is the Senior Vice President of Strategy and Development. Melanie, more than a baseball game tonight for sure.
Thanks, Todd. I really appreciate it, and definitely more than a baseball game. I mean, sports, but baseball in particular, has a way of bringing people together. And, you know, looking at the tragedy that happened, as you said, just 100 miles away, tonight is a way for us to not just honor those victims, but their families, the community of Orlando, the larger Tampa Bay community and Central Florida community, and really the LGBT community across the world.
When you guys announced the plans for your Pride Night tonight, it seems like all of a sudden this place was filling up at a record pace.
You know, it's amazing. I've been with the Rays now for almost 9 years, and I could not be prouder. I have not had a prouder moment than today to be a member of the Tampa Bay Rays organization.
I know it's an organization that has had a lot of support from a lot of different areas, especially
Yes.
Major League Baseball.
Absolutely. What baseball is doing tonight, we just saw Billy Beane throw out the first pitch. You know, we're a big family. And to be able to take the love and support that we feel for each other and to translate it to the community at large does nothing but, again, make us proud to be a part of this organization.
All right, so tonight is our special Rays Pride Night where all the benefits go to the Pulse Victims Fund. I know that there's raffles going on during the course of the game, and there's also going to be the blood drive that will continue with One Blood tomorrow as well.
Absolutely. Come out to Gates 4 or Gates 1. We're also collecting donations here at the ballpark tonight for the fund for the victims' families, and really, you know, just go to raysbaseball.com/Orlando and just help it, you know, and contribute. Any little bit helps.
Here we are in a sporting event, and we're part of a community, and it just kind of seems fitting that this has all come together for the Rays.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you look out at the crowd tonight and you see everybody in their black shirts that say we are Orlando, it couldn't be more true.
Yeah, a lot of special feelings tonight, a lot of heartfelt emotions, and we are happy to be a part of it right here with our telecast on Fox Sports Sun. Melanie, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Todd.
Melanie Len joining us on this night. We'll have more on our Rays annual Pride Night and more on the baseball game right around the corner on Fox Sports Sun. Regular season history gathering tonight as the Rays have dedicated their annual Pride Night to the victims of the Orlando shooting. We Are Orlando t-shirts being handed out tonight, expecting 40,000 range tonight at Tropicana Field. The tarps have been pulled back in the upper deck. We just heard from Melanie Lenz a moment ago from the Tampa Bay Rays, and she talked about the incredible partnership with Major League Baseball in this effort tonight. And with that in mind, we hear now from the commissioner of MLB, Rob Manfred.
Good evening. I'm Rob Manfred, the Commissioner of Baseball. Major League Baseball abhors the act of terrorism and hate perpetuated in Orlando last Sunday. Our deepest sympathies go out to the victims, family members, and their loved ones. The LGBT community is part of the baseball community. That community stands together as we try and heal from this devastating moment in U.S. history. Baseball has a special way of bringing people together during difficult times. I want to thank the Tampa Bay Rays and their fans for their extraordinary effort to help those most affected in this tremendous time of need. Tonight, our thoughts and prayers are with Orlando.
Tropicana Field, the annual Pride Night this year, honoring the victims of the Orlando shooting. 100% of proceeds from tonight benefiting the Pulse Victims Fund. The t-shirts given out, We Are Orlando, symbol of unity and inclusion. And if you would like to donate, unable to get to tonight's game, would like to donate further after tonight, we encourage you to visit raysbaseball.com/Orlando. In addition to the fundraising measures tonight, there is a blood drive going on, courtesy of One Blood. It was here tonight from 4 o'clock. People were lining up to donate blood. Vouchers for 2 tickets to a Futures game. That One Blood truck, those trucks will be back tomorrow beginning at 2 o'clock if you'd like to donate blood as well. Time now to check in with Greg Khalil, the PA announcer here at Tropicana Field.
As we have witnessed the lasting images, heard the fading voices, and read the final tearful text messages from the innocent victims from Sunday's mass shootings. As a community, a state, a nation, a world, we grieve together. Among the victims, a firefighter in training, a mother of 2 and wife of a race car driver, a nursing student, a father of 3, a community volunteer, a pharmacist, a Tampa construction worker dedicated to his family, a captain in the U.S. Army Reserve, a Disney cast member, a recent first-time homebuyer, an 18-year-old college-bound basketball star on a family vacation, and a mother of 11 who, as she often did, was out dancing with one of her sons. She was killed while protecting him. Innocent lives lost. We stand shoulder to shoulder with their families and the survivors, and we ask you now to honor them with a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, please join us in welcoming the Una Voce Gay Men's Chorus of Tampa Bay to perform our national anthem. Presenting tonight's anthem in American Sign Language, Brooke Bailey.
Stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land
Fans still coming in to Tropicana Field tonight. This game dedicated to the victims of Sunday's mass shooting in Orlando. And it would appear the Rays may have their largest crowd ever during the regular season here. To open this series tonight, the Rays entertaining the San Francisco Giants. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you with us. Well, BA, the good news is Evan Longoria is back in the lineup. The challenging news is the San Francisco Giants are here, and they have been red hot for almost a month now.
No, I mean, you go back to May 11th, this team is 24-8, and you're right. This is a very challenging part of the Rays schedule. You go off over their next 4 series, but it starts here with the Giants. They're leading the NL West by 6.5 games. They're 15 games over 500. They've won 5 in a row and 24 of their last 32. So it's time to strap it on and come to play some pretty good baseball because, like you said, this Giants team, that's what they're doing.
Well, the Rays have taken the first 2 series of this homestand, 2 out of 3 from Houston, and just completing the 3-game series with Seattle and winning 2 out of 3 there, looking for their first winning homestand of the year. We'll have all the action tonight from the Trop when we return. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com today. By Kona Brewing Company. By St. Luke's Cataract and Laser Institute. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Here at the Trop tonight, Rays and the Giants. Just moments away from beginning this 3-game series. Same 2 teams tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the way, is a 4:10 start. And then Sunday afternoon, a 1:10 first pitch before the Rays hit the road. Go to Cleveland and Baltimore, and then come right back home on the 27th to begin a lengthy homestand with Boston, Detroit, and the Los Angeles Angels all coming in on that homestand. Chris Archer on the mound for the Rays tonight. The Lowe's home field advantage, and here's the breakout for Chris Archer.
Well, obviously the number's much better here at home. Doesn't show, it doesn't reflect in the record of just 1-4, but you can't argue with the ERA or the opponent's average of just 1.94. And Chris Archer has been starting to round himself into the form that we saw an awful lot of a season ago. So looking to build off a couple of strong outings and go out against a very tough team tonight and have another one.
Well, he's pitched deep in terms of pitch count into the last 2 starts he's made. 118 pitches against Houston, although that was a losing effort. The Rays manager, Kevin Cash, felt very good about what he saw from Archer in that one, following up the previous start he made against Arizona.
Well, and that's kind of what you're used to, and that's kind of the role that he's been put in. You're going to be the opening day starter. You're expected to get deep into ball games, to be able to run up a pitch count, and he's been able to do that because he's had better command of his pitches. And he's much like Matt Moore. When he's able to command the fastball around, all of a sudden you start to see the depth on the slider. The occasional changeup has been very good with the arm speed. So looks to continue to build. And that man right there, as you peer through the guys in that Rays dugout, Evan Longoria back in the lineup here tonight.
Yeah, he had a tightness in his forearm. Rays happy to have him back. You see the Rays wearing the Orlando patches and the Orlando Rays caps. See, that's the at-bat when it first started to bother him, and he came out of that game against Seattle.
Isn't it funny how often those things happen on a check swing, you know, where you just don't finish it. You got all that momentum going. You try to hold up just a little bit, and it flared up on him. But listen, he's out there taking the field. It's going to be a lot more than that to keep him out of the lineup.
Well, let's take a look at the starting lineup for San Francisco. Denard Span is going to lead it off. He'll be in center field, followed by Joe Panik, the second baseman, and then Brandon Belt. Buster Posey hits cleanup. Brandon Crawford is the shortstop, hitting fifth. Matt Duffy at third. Angel Pagan is in left. Jared Parker will be the DH. Gregor Blanco in right field will hit ninth for San Francisco.
Chris Archer obviously taking the mound here tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, making his 15th start of the season. That start that we referred to, that last start against the Astros, 7 2/3. He gave up 3 earned runs in that ball game, 118 pitches, and in half of his starts so far, Chris Archer's given up 2 earned runs or fewer. That's what you're hoping to see, him start to string together some of those types of starts, build a little winning streak. Let's take a look at the Rays defense and see how it's going to line up here tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In that outfield left to right, we have Corey Dickerson, Desmond Jennings, and Jeff Decker. Across the infield third to first, Evan Longoria, Brad Miller, Logan Forsythe, and Logan Morrison with Kurt Casale behind the plate.
Rays without Steven Souza Jr. He is on the 15-day disabled list with the sore hip. So the Rays are without him, along with Kevin Kiermaier and Brandon Guyer. You talk about an outfield being in some physical distress. That would exactly describe what the Rays situation is with those 3 guys on the DL.
Decimated, really. 2 major components of that Rays outfield right there, and Souza Jr. and Kevin Kiermaier.
Well, here's Denard Span. He's going to lead it off, hitting .257 for the Giants, and the first pitch is a fastball high and away. 1-0. Span coming to San Francisco as a free agent addition. Pops it back of third. That's a long way to go for Longoria or Miller, and they cannot catch up to it. A 1-1 count. There's Bruce Bochy in his 10th year as the manager of this San Francisco Giants club, after 12 years managing the San Diego Padres. Now 10 years with San Francisco. Span fouls it right back into the screen. It's 1-2.
And how about the run that he's been on? The every other year team, 10, 12, 14 World Series champions.
Ground ball by the mound, charged by Miller. Span is the first out. So Denard Span retired.
Second baseman, number 12.
Hitter's going to be Joe Panik. Panik hitting .268 right there. And a battler up there at the plate.
And really, that kind of typifies their lineup. A great way to describe this lineup. Not a lot of power. Third fewest home runs in Major League Baseball with 55 as a unit. But boy, they do battle up and down that lineup. Won't strike out a lot. They'll take their walks. Scrappy. It's a scrappy bunch.
Yep, Panik, just 25 years old, already a reputation as a tough out at the plate, particularly down 2 strikes. And he's down 1 and 2 right now.
Well, you'll see the 2-strike approach, and that's what's big. That's when you talk about these scrappy hitters. You know, they'll take some big swings and swing and miss early in counts, but then you get to that 2-strike, and they start thinking up the middle the other way. That's what makes them a tough out. That's why this is a great matchup, because Chris Archer, one of the premier strikeout pitchers in the game, against a lineup that doesn't strike out a lot.
96 strikeouts in 80 innings for Archer coming into this game.
And you're getting up there close to 11 per 9 innings.
Fouled away. See another 2-2 pitch. Brandon Belt, their first baseman, is on deck, and he continues to get better every year. Popped into short left. Dickerson coming on there to make the grab. 2 up and 2 down. Ground ball and the pop fly to short left.
You can see right there how he just cut down on the swing, just trying to put that ball in play. But to Chris Archer's credit, a good pitch, second out of the inning. And anytime you can see Chris Archer getting off to a quick start, gives you a good feeling about the night.
Well, here's Brandon Belt hitting .301. Is down and in. Belt, just 27 years old. He had 18 home runs last year. He has 8 right now and an 8-game hitting streak. Two and 0. Slicing back out of play. 2 and 1. Well, the Giants 41 and 26, and they've been good both at home and on the road. 22 and 13 at home, 19-13 on the road, and they've been led by this guy, Brandon Belt. He's hitting .339 on the road for San Francisco. Archer behind him, 3 and 1.
Steady and consistent. You know, you often see teams take on the personality of their manager, and in Bruce Bochy, that's what you have. Been there, done that, consistent.
And that's ball 4 upstairs. Fastball. Belt walks. He heads to first with 2 outs, and that brings the catcher Buster Posey to the plate, hitting cleanup.
And his numbers down a little bit according to the standard that he's set. I mean, he's a career .308 hitter. He's .274 this year, but always the threat.
Pitch just off the plate. Well, in the 08 draft, the 5th overall pick. And they picked right. 3-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, MVP, and a batting champ.
Yeah, where do you start trying to highlight those numbers?
That ball is a fair ball toward the corner. Decker will play it out. Belt will go to third on the double by Posey, his 14th double of the year.
Well, taking the ball the other way, realizing that you're facing a power pitcher, going to stay away from you here, but that ball's up, and Buster Posey who can hammer balls from foul line to foul line, goes up the right side here, keeps it fair, keeps the inning alive, and now a 2-out threat.
Two men in scoring position for Brandon Crawford. Crawford led this team in home runs last year. Their shortstop, he had 21, and led all major league shortstops in runs batted in with 84. This pitch gets away, but no attempt to come down the line from Belt. I'm not sure he got a great read on that, and he missed the game yesterday. He was hit by a pitch in the right foot, and he may be still favoring that.
Dwayne, I think you're absolutely right. I thought the same thing when he was running on the Buster Posey hit. You know, first base and he kind of gliding into third, taking it easy. And this certainly right here is an opportunity to score with an aggressive secondary lead, and he just didn't even attempt it.
The pitch was a strike, so it's 0-1 to Crawford. And he went again. Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief down there at third, says he offered.
Well, once again, just not recognizing that pitch soon enough. And so Chris Archer, does he stay with it? Does he try to gas him up? Obviously having a hard time with the slider now.
Crawford's been their best hitter with men in scoring position. Has two out there now. And the slider he takes for a ball. 1-2. Archer retired Span and panicked to start the game, then walked Belt. Posey doubled. Stays with the slider for ball 2, 2-2. Matt Duffy, the third baseman, on deck. Shot toward the gap into left center field. On the run. Jennings can't get there. He'll have to chase it down. Belt and Posey have scored. Crawford stops at second, and it's 2-0 San Francisco.
Well, the inning started off promising enough. 2 up, 2 down, but then all of a sudden a 2-out walk, a double, and then finally going away from the slider. But again, the pitch is away, but it's elevated. That's up near the belt. Brandon Crawford already talked that he's got power. He shoots that ball with a little slice the other way, and it gets away from Jennings.
So a couple pitches elevated have been turned into extra base hits by Posey and Crawford. Here's the third baseman, Matt Duffy.
You know, and the sign of good veteran hitters, you know, pitches that are up, those are pitches you want to drive and you're thinking pull. But because they're away, these guys smart enough to let them get into the zone, and the big hits have been the other way.
1-1. Takes it too high. 2-1. 25 pitches for Chris here in the first inning. Most of his trouble has come early this year.
It really has. The first inning issues continue. You know, the numbers coming in, the number of base runners between the hits and the walks, and that's what got it started here. It was the 2-out walk after falling behind Belt. And then all of a sudden, a couple of doubles, you're down 2-0, and the runner out in scoring position. And it's always early, and it's always typically lack of command.
And a cut and a miss. A 2-2 slider takes care of Duffy. 2-run score Rays coming in to hit. And a field, bottom of the first. Giants with a couple runs in their half the frame. Lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Logan Forsythe, Brad Miller, and Evan Longoria, the top three for the Rays. Middle three, Logan Morrison, then Steve Pearce and Corey Dickerson, with Desmond Jennings hitting seventh, Jeff Decker eighth, and Kirk Casale, the number 9 hitter, against right-hander Jeff Samardzija.
And Jeff Samardzija trying to get things back on track. Off to a great start at the beginning of the season, but the last 3 starts, an 0-2 record, 7.36 on the earned run average.
First pitch, and Logan Forsythe takes a fastball for a strike. Logan trying to get something going here against Samardzija. He is 0 of 11 in his career against him.
Yeah, you're not going to hold him down like
It's
that
time.
for very long. That's right.
1-1.
Samardzija, he started off the season. His first 10 starts, he was 7-2 with a 2.54, and in 5 of those 10 starts, gave up just 1 earned run. I mean, he was dealing, but hit a little rough patch here recently.
His last 3 games has earned on average well over 7.
Yep. And this is a guy that's averaging almost 6 2/3 innings per start, pitching deep into games, but has had a hard time of that because of that ERA. The last 3 outings have been very short.
Two and two. Brad Miller on deck. And after getting ahead, the count is now full. Samardzija 11-13 last year with the White Sox. Signed a 5-year deal with the Giants. High popper right side. Belt down the line coming in from right. Blanco, foul ball. And Blanco, the right fielder, makes the catch.
Let's set that San Francisco Giant defense for you here. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, we've got Angel Pagan, Bernard Span, and Gregor Blanco. And across that infield third to first, Matt Duffy, Brandon Crawford, Joe Panik, Brandon Belt, Buster Posey behind the plate.
Miller hitting .234. Which is a strike. 1-1. Samardzija originally came up with the Chicago Cubs and had a nice run over there briefly with Oakland, and then back to Chicago with the White Sox. One and two.
And you see with his motion how he tries to create some deception. You know, turns his back to the hitter as he goes through his windup, gives you a little crossfire action with a, you know, an arm slot that's not really 3/4, it's more that low 3/4. Fastball gets late life when it's down. He'll cut it. Change up, slider.
Chop to the right side. Panic takes care of that. 2 up, 2 down. Evan Longoria walks to the plate. Well, we started to see the Rays surging a bit, and that was no coincidence. It was the same time Longoria was surging.
I mean, he's been prolific here in June, and you saw those gaudy numbers with 16 and 40 home runs and runs batted in.
20 runs batted in and a .379 average over 15 games. Pops it straight back out of play. Foul, strike one.
You know, he hasn't been really chasing out of the zone. Mistakes, he's not missing. Solid contact with the mistakes, and right now with that swing being in order, a lot of that solid contact has left the field of play. Some balls with that really good carry.
1-1. He has 6 lifetime at bats against this right-hander, 2 of 6, and 1 of those hits a home run. Two balls and a strike. Hot shot down to third. Duffy makes the play. That ball was hit hard on a low liner, and he made the pickup on the short hop.
And he made it look easy.
He did.
This ball is blistered.
1, 2, 3, go the Rays. With a couple hits and a walk and 2 runs in the first. Angel Pagan leads it off. Broken bat, now roller to the right side. Forsythe makes a nice play, moving to his left, and Archer not wasting any time trying to dodge that, and for good reason.
You get those bats, they shear off like that. Look how it comes to a point. I mean, that can be very dangerous. And so, yeah, you see a bat go like that, you're thinking, you know, it's funny because Chris Archer's initial instinct was the correct one. You head towards first base on a ball hit to the right side, and then he's like, you know what, I'll let them handle it. I'm going to stay right here. Look at that, one's being studied as we speak, Dwayne.
Yep. That long process begins.
I've never heard any of the results from that study.
Patience. One strike to count to Jared
6
Parker.
years.
I want to make sure they get it right. Parker, the DH. And this guy has some pop in his bat. He got only 49 at bats last year and abbreviated time in the big leagues with the Giants, but he hit 6 home runs in 49 at bats.
They take that all day long. That is some serious pop. And by the way, when you play out in San Francisco, I mean, it's not like that's a real easy home run park. You gotta hit that ball hard to get it out of there.
And around his feet, it's 2-2.
And I'm going to assume at least a couple of those home runs were hit at home. If not, I've already blown it.
Blanco on deck, the right fielder. Takes it the other way and loops it into shallow left. 2 hops to Dickerson. 1 out single.
Right fielder, number 7, Gregor Blanco.
Third hit for the San Francisco lineup. The number 9 hitter, Gregor Blanco, about to step in. Blanco at 252. The Giants up by 6.5, riding a 5-game winning streak. 84 and 78 last year. They're on a pace right now for 99 wins. The most Bochy has ever won managing the Giants is 94. That came in 12.
Well, it's been that hot streak that you referenced, you know, when we came into this ball game since May the 11th. 24, they've won 24 of their last 32 games.
Yep.
That's 750 winning percentage.
And that is the highest stretch in terms of wins and losses that franchise has ever had. They've done that before. But you go back to when they went west in 1958, the Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. 24 and 8 since May the 11th, with a starter ERA of 2.18.
That's what's leading the way, because the runs per game, that's actually lower than their season average. But the pitching has been getting it done.
They're averaging 4.45 runs a game. Foul ball back. So they moved to San Francisco in 58, and they had a stretch in 62, which was a very good year for the Giants, of 24 and 8. Again in 71 and 78. 93, 2000, 02, and 04, and now this year. Just a little piece of that, and it got just a bit of Casale as well.
Chris Archer coming with another changeup. He's got 2 swings and misses from Blanco on that pitch in this at bat. comes with a third, trying to put him away, and just a piece, and just a piece.
One on, one out. We'll try the 1-2 again. Lifted the other way out of play. Wait. You look at this lineup the first time through, first time we've seen the Giants, and they certainly appear to be the type of lineup that could wear on a pitcher.
We talked about it early. This is the 9-hole, fouling off a couple of tough pitches. Yes, they're going to battle you through and through. A blue-collar, workman-like team. That's what they are. And look where Chris Archer is pitching to Blanco. I mean, he's pretty consistent. Not going to come in.
And that's a check.
Boy, that's again, that's a great check. Everything that you've seen has been fastball and changeup away. Now all of a sudden he comes down and in with the slider, and you're able to just walk that fine line and bring it back.
Strike 3 call. Got him looking.
Boy, he hung him a changeup there, and finally was able to get into Blanco's head. 85, stayed pretty much middle belt, and he just froze him.
Yeah, that's the ironic thing as well.
Yeah, I mean,
a couple of really good ones early in the count. He stays alive.
Yeah.
And then just can't pull the trigger on that one.
The worst of the bunch, and you walk back to the dugout. We'll take it.
Span bouncing one foul up the right side for a strike. And she has a souvenir. Made a nice play. Fastball around the knees. 0-2. .27 pitches in the first inning. He's at 43 overall right now. Archer's been averaging 17.7 pitches an inning this year. Runner goes, pitch, a cut and a miss. Span out on strikes. Slider got him. Bottom of the second, coming up 2-0 San Francisco. Coming in a hit in the bottom of the second. The Toyota keys to success would be that big three right there for the Giants.
Yeah, and guess
the Rays
what?
get to miss 2 of them.
Yes, they've only have to face Jeff Samardzija, who's been struggling as of late. They missed Bumgarner and Cueto, but look at those numbers. How about Johnny Cueto?
10-1. Bumgarner is 8-2.
And I think he's won 7 in a row, 7 or 8 in a row.
Yeah, and you have to fear him in more ways than one. Bruce Bochy was joking about that earlier. They can use the DH here. And he said, well, maybe we'll just use Bumgarner as a DH.
Hit for himself.
Yep. He's got a couple of home runs this year.
Listen, he's taken Clayton Kershaw out of the yard twice. Enough said.
Here you go. He had 5 home runs last year. Look at this.
That's power. That's a slider down in a way that he flipped over the wall in left center field. And that's just belted.
He could DH. Remember, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago about him voicing he'd like to be in the home run hitting contest at the All-Star game.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a good idea, though.
No. Not just from the amount of swings that you take and how hard you're swinging. We see the regular hitters who are taking BP day in and day out power. They are gassed by the end of those tournaments. And so you would never, as much as it would be fun to watch, no question about it.
And then the idea was floated, just have a pitcher's home run derby. Pick some of those guys, but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
you're going to be competitive, and
right?
You know,
right.
Last thing you want to do is lose any pitching that you have.
Could you imagine?
Oh.
Could you imagine tweaking an oblique on a team who's leading the division, kind of trying to run away from the Dodgers, playing great baseball, and you tweak an oblique, launching home runs in an exhibition?
3-1. Morrison fouls it toward the bullpen.
Got to get that glove around. Got to get that glove around. When it comes up around the belt, you got to roll that glove over.
The ball comes out of there off that carom.
Comes in hot.
Yep, sure does.
Right here, the glove never gets around. You see carom. Yeah, too little, too late. We'll work on it. These guys can play.
Steve Geltz back with the bullpen now. Rejoined the club today, and he's giving him a little help, a few pointers. Ground ball, and that's going to go through into right field. Morrison works the count full and singles into right. Leadoff base hit in the bottom half of the second, and that brings up the Rays' hottest hitter, and I mean hot. The Buick GMC big matchup. Steve Pearce. Look at these numbers.
Those aren't real.
514. He's 18 out of 35.
Those numbers are absurd.
First pitch is a strike. Remember when you started playing Little League the first year?
Yeah.
You hit like 536, something like that, right?
Yeah. I mean,
first year of Little League.
First year.
That's what he's doing right now in the big leagues.
Yeah, that's what makes it, jaw dropping. Been able to maintain that. Well, it's been big hits too. Big hits and driving in runs, keeping innings alive. That increase in playing time, and he's really taken to it. And I think he's got the best look on the team with the bald head and the beard. Just me.
Yeah, I've grown to like that look.
You'd better.
Base hit right back into center. Morrison stops at second. Pearce is aboard.
Just continues to hit. Using the middle of the field, not trying to do too much. It's a beautiful thing right here. Ball doesn't quite get to its spot. And he just reaches out there and pokes it back up the middle.
You know, you're talking about the San Francisco lineup being a blue-collar lineup. If you love to watch a team or a player who works this game, that's your guy right there. He's got to be your favorite player.
No question about it. I mean, you know, think about what he does at the plate. You know, his approach. You know, the professionalism, the fact that he gives you versatility around the infield and could give you some, you know, versatility in outfield, you know, an emergency type situation. But plays, you know, first, second, third.
Plays hard all the time.
All the time.
Corey Dickerson pops it up left side. Crawford angling out from shortstop and makes the catch. And Jeff Kellogg out there making that call on that. Turned out to be an infield pop. It wasn't all that ordinary, though.
No. And you know, we see this a lot. We see this a lot with visiting teams, especially visiting teams that don't play here very often or have had no experience with this roof here at Tropicana Field. It can be tricky. A rubbed up baseball, a roof that's really off-white, and if you don't follow that baseball closely, you will lose sight of it. And if you lose sight of it, it is very difficult to pick it back up in time.
Now it's Desmond Jennings. Which is a ball, 1-0. Desmond starting the night at 181. There's a strike, 1-1. Samardzija, 31 years old, out of Maryville, Indiana. Jeff Decker's on deck. Rays have put the first couple men on. They're aboard with one out now. Logan Morrison second, Pierce at first. Foul out of play. 1-2. Rays and the Giants again tomorrow. And again on Sunday. Last series on this homestand. Rays come in 4-2 on the homestand. Jennings out on strikes.
How about the velocity on that pitch? That's up in a region that Samardzija doesn't often visit. But at 96, he's going to keep it close to Desmond Jennings. Forces a quick decision. And that ball just sneaks under the bat.
You got that nice tail, that movement in there right at the end of that delivery.
You know, when he throws it away to the righties, it either stays true or sometimes he'll cut it, but in to the righties. You're right, that arm side, a little bit of run.
Just strike to Decker. That one up in the mid-90s. High fly ball back into center. Denard Span's going to have to go back to the track, looking up with room and making the catch to retire the side. Straight away center. 2 left. Rays trail by 2. Francisco with a couple in the first. In the game tonight, we again participate in the home run challenge, benefiting prostate cancer research. So far, after 4 days this week, nearly $1.3 million has been raised. You can make a pledge by going to homerunchallenge.org. Joe Panik, the second baseman, leads it off. The pitch is down, a ball, no strikes. One and one. Giants got these 2 runs in the first. Chris Archer now has given up 16 first inning runs in 15 starts. 33 in the rest of the game. It's popped up again left side. Longoria out there calling for it. He's got it. One away.
And you look at the base runners. 36 base runners in those 15 innings. That's more than 2 an inning. And when you're dealing with numbers like that, you're going to give up runs, just period.
He made 34 starts last year, gave up only 14 runs all of last year in the first. 16 through 15 starts this year.
It makes it so difficult. Then you're obviously, playing from behind a lot of the times, and it makes it real hard on you to maintain, to continue. And he's been able to do that. Now, he's been able to calm things down through the middle innings, keep his team in the game, and give them a chance.
One strike to Brandon Belt. 1 and 1.
And you know that adjustments have been made. Maybe you simulate a couple of hitters before you finish up your warm-ups, because the issues have not been game planning. They've been command. Just coming out like a lot of pitches like that. Fastballs that have stayed up in the zone. Slider not real sharp yet.
Well, he got hurt by Posey and Crawford on pitches that were up. Little popper left side. Evan handles that. So 2 gone. Well, we're looking forward to tomorrow, but it's time to turn back the clock tomorrow when the Rays take on the Giants. Blast from the past with throwback jerseys and rolled back concession pricing. Don't miss the fray. Famous for How to Save a Life and Found Me in a post-game concert tomorrow. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Call them now. Rays up. Buster Posey shoots one out of play up the right side.
I'm assuming that the Rays are going to be rolling out the actually never wore them. It looked like they could have in the 70s.
Yeah.
San Diego Padre kind of look.
Yeah. What do they call those? They faux turn back uniforms?
Something like that.
Yeah. That's what they would have looked like had they been around then.
You know what? We were able to work one of those uniforms into the all-time greatest graphic that Fox Sports Sun has ever put up in a broadcast. I think it was from in Oakland.
Yeah, late night with the Rays.
Yeah, a little throwback action. I think even the Zimbear made it. Todd on the scooter, part of it.
Yep.
Good times.
Well, we have a creative bunch to rely upon in the truck.
I mean, that's you talk about too much free time.
There's a strike. It's 2-2. Swing and a miss. That takes care of Posey. 1, 2, 3. Go the Giants. Bottom of the third coming. 2-0. Scored 2 in the first. We're headed into the bottom of the third. Rays put the first 2 men aboard in their second. Left them there. So we'll go to the bottom of the third with the bottom of the order. Curt Casali due to lead it off here. Full house tonight at Tropicana Field. There's Casali, then Forsythe and Miller. And the pitch is a strike. Samardzija last year with the White Sox led the American League in hits allowed and earned runs. But the Giants gave him a 5-year deal anyway. They liked the way he maintained his velocity and looked at his overall body of work. And he's off to a good start. 7-4 this year, and as you mentioned earlier, BA, the first 10 starts he was exceptionally good. Struggled a bit the last 3. But still 7-4. And he strikes out Casali. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile, and a couple of health reports there. That's a big blow to the Tigers with a broken right elbow. J.D. Martinez out 4 to 6 weeks, and David Wright for the Mets. Again, surgery this time, the herniated disc in his neck, and he could be out for the rest of the year.
Just a series of injuries keeping David Wright from being on the field with any consistency the last few seasons, really.
The Tigers starting the day in the AL Central, a game and a half back, running third behind the Indians and Kansas City. And J.D. Martinez has been a big part of that team since they picked him up from Houston. Mets chasing Washington over in the National League East. Forsythe swings through the fastball, 2-1.
And when he's wanted to, he's been able to reach back and get that 95, 96 miles an hour. And you can see the difference. You know, a little bit of deception, add and subtract a little bit with the fastball.
Samardzija's a young man, had some big decisions to make. As we mentioned, he's from Maryville, Indiana, not far from Notre Dame. Went there, played football.
Oh, yeah.
And was quite a receiver.
Very.
I think he had 15. I think it was 15 touchdown passes in 1 year. Something like 70, the upper 70s receptions. There's a shot deep to right. Blanco to the track, and a step from the wall makes the catch. Forsythe. Long way to the opposite field by Logan Forsythe.
The only thing that saved Samardzija on that one there was that ball was down just enough, because we know Logan Forsythe is strong enough to go out the other way. He's done it multiple times, but this pitch stays down enough. Able to just get it to the wall.
There's Brad Miller.
Yeah, I like the football stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked watching him play.
You know, it's pretty interesting. When it came time for him to make a decision, his brother came over basically with a chalkboard, and they put baseball on one side and football on the other and listed all of the pros and cons, and he came away deciding to play baseball.
Probably the right decision.
His dad gave him piece of information early, I think before They started to compare with pros and cons. He says, look, if you want to play baseball, you want to pitch, you got to learn to pitch. You're a thrower now. Learn to pitch. And that's pretty good parental advice right there.
You know, I think that that's something that is missing in some respect with the game today.
I think you're right.
You know, I think that the stuff in the game, the pure stuff in the game is unprecedented. And there's more stuff in the game today than there has ever been. But pitchability, not so much. And the main reason why is because these guys haven't had to pitch. Their idea of pitching is reach back for 98 and blow it right by you.
Yep.
You know, but the you know, you think about Greg Maddux setting up hitters. These and you know what? It's not their fault. A lot of these guys, it's not their fault. They haven't had to.
Yeah.
I can outstuff you. The problem is when the stuff starts to leave you, will you be able to continue to compete and win?
3-1 chop to the right side. Panic, the second baseman handles it. We're through 3 tonight at the Trop. 2-0 San Francisco.
Game 4 tonight. They will be back tomorrow collecting blood as the Rays continue to honor the victims of the Pulse shooting, as they are tonight on Pride Night, dedicating the night to those victims. And guys, in addition to that, the players are wearing these patches, the Orlando patches above on their left shoulder, and they are wearing the Orlando Rays caps. So these caps will be autographed by Rays players after the game, and beginning Monday they will be auctioned off. All proceeds will be donating to the Pulse victims and their families. And guys, the one blood drive outside, not only did they take a lot of blood in today, but they signed up more people than they actually drew blood from that are going to donate on future dates. It was that busy out there. So tomorrow, 1:30 to 7:30, outside of Gate 4, you can donate blood as well as tonight when they had an outstanding crowd out there. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, a great community effort we have witnessed here tonight. Continue to see that. 2-1 the count to Crawford, the shortstop, leading it off. Brandon Crawford doubled in both runs in the first inning. Two. Count is full. One walk tonight by Chris Archer. That came with 2 outs in the first and led to 2 runs. It's 3-2 with Crawford here beginning the fourth. Let's see another 3-2 pitch.
It was a 3-2 changeup, and that's been a pitch that Chris Archer, especially after that first inning, has started to go to more and more. Not just against the left-handed hitters, it was also the pitch he struck Buster Posey out with. So that's becoming a part of the game plan here tonight.
And ball 4.
I don't think Chris Archer was a big fan of that call. That's a borderline breaking ball, and I think that he thought that it was going to be a called third strike. This is really, really close. And he started to make that walk over towards third base like strike 3, and then visibly upset when called a ball.
Well, that's tough. You don't get that call, and it puts the leadoff man on. And here's Matt Duffy. Duffy lifts it into center. Jennings waiting for this one. One away. Well, that's one step in the right direction and out there. Angel Pagan on his way to the plate. Pagan out second to first in the second inning. There's a strike. Veteran outfielder. He'll be 35 years old early next month. Into center. Will it hang up long enough? It does. Jennings gets there. 2 gone. So after the walk, 3 pitches, 2 outs.
Can't be much more efficient than that, and that's the way you handle it. You know, you're upset with that call.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, catcher's
we're going to have
interference.
catcher's interference apparently. And Kevin Cash now talking with Scott Berry. So they're going to award first base to Pagan. And Crawford will go to second. And that will be an error on Casale on catcher's interference. And what I'm wondering about this conversation, well, let's take another look first.
Right there. You can see it clips the top of the catcher's mitt as he's reaching for the changeup. And that absolutely did hit Casale's glove. You know, you're going out there to get that changeup, and that glove just floated a little bit too close to the swing, and we'll see. They're talking about it now.
So the umpires are conferring, and they're doing it right in front of the mound. Archer would like to take a couple of tosses, so he had to break up. Usually it's the umpires breaking up a different kind of conference on the mound, and Archer had to break that umpires conference up. Hard to tell who made that call. Normally the plate umpire will make it, but from just kind of reading Kevin Cash's body language, I think Tom Payne at first made that call, and he was asking Scott Berry, why didn't you make the call? If you didn't see it, how can he see it down there?
I think you're all over it. I think you are all over that.
But it's catcher's interference. First and second now. 1 out. Here's Jared Parker. It's too high to him. And that changes the complexion of this inning significantly. And this one will skip away back into the screen, and I think that found that opening in the screen. So it's a wild pitch. Now second and third with only one out.
Change up again. This ball middle down, and Kurt Casalia comes right up and off the thumb, up into the air and into the camera well.
So it's 2-0, infield up. 2 balls and a strike. It's a 2-0 game right now. 3-1. Well, Parker up here, we mentioned his home run prowess and just a few at bats last year. And he walks. The bases are loaded. But to answer your question, Rick Odioso, who's all over it, our esteemed statistician, you wanted to know the home and away breakout of those home runs last year for Parker?
There you go.
1 home run in 37 at bats. Let's see, he had 37 at bats, 1 home run at home, 5 home runs in 12 road at bats.
Yeah, and
how
now
about that?
Okay, that's ridiculous, number one. But number two makes some sense, because whatever they're calling the ballpark out there nowadays, not really sure. It's a gem of a park, one of my favorites in the game, right up there with Target Field up in Minneapolis. But the ballpark in San Francisco is fantastic, but you better hit it if you're going to get one out of there.
Yeah, 1 in 37 ABs and 5 in 12, hit 3 in one game in Oakland.
Ooh,
in September last year.
Impressive.
Well, there you go.
Across the bay, that's not much easier.
Jim Hickey with a conference. Now that's complete. Bases loaded. Blanco goes after the first pitch. Fastball, and he fouls that one back for a strike. A line drive and a base hit, dropping into center. Crawford scores. Pagan crosses the plate. Parker up to second. It's 4-0. Blanco serves that soft liner into center.
Remember his first at bat? He was called out on a changeup after seeing 3 previous in the at bat, 4 total. So he's onto this pitch now. And that's not a bad changeup. Problem is, he's seen a number of good ones out there, and he's able to lengthen the swing and just put this ball into play, get it airborne, and drop it into center field. That's some good remembering by a veteran ball player, remembering that first at bat and all the changeups he saw, and able to make the adjustment.
Well, the top of the order, Denard Span, up for the 3rd time, takes a strike. Two runs in the first and 2 more in the 4th. A little late on the fastball. 0-2. Down 1-2. Span out of Tampa Catholic. He was slowed last year with hip surgery, and that limited him to a little over 60 games. Hit .301. Two and two. One away. The 2-2 to Span. Strike 3 call on that inside part of the plate.
What a smart pitch. Got ahead, a couple of sliders down and in, and some really good takes there by Span. So now just come in with a heater, and boy, does he lock him up. Little bit of late movement, keeps it right on that edge.
Well, you see what just a little bit makes a big difference. He thought he had Crawford, thought he had that pitch that walked him. Then he thought he had Pagan, catcher's interference. And the Giants have turned that into 2 runs so far. Ground ball to first by Panic. Morrison makes the play unassisted. 2-run score. It's 4-0 San Francisco. The bottom of the 4th. Celebrate the red, white, and blue at the Coke Zero 400. For your chance to win 4 tickets, tweet the number of laps in the Coke Zero 400 and hashtag race to July and hashtag sponsored to @FoxSportsFL. Head to www.foxsportsflorida.com for more info. Evan Longoria opens the bottom of the 4th. Takes a pitch, fastball on the outside edge for a strike.
It's time to go now.
Yes, it is. Second time through. Number 3 hitter Longoria leading it off. Pitch up. 1-1. Longoria retired in the 1st on a heck of a play by the 3rd baseman Duffy.
He made it look way easier than it was. You know, converted shortstop and showing a shortstop's hands on that rocket shot.
It ended an inning, and so probably didn't get its due, but that was an outstanding play turned in by Duffy.
You almost imagine him yawning as he went for the backhand, like, oh, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was smooth on a ball that was hit very hard. He's going to be able to vote this year. Big year.
Oh, strike 3 call to Longoria. Right there on the corner at the knees.
Well, this is why you want to see some movement here. You've got a pitcher that's starting to settle in. They've been able to expand the lead. There's that cutter, front door cutter, and he cuts it right to that corner at the kneecaps. We've seen him working that pitch away from the righties, now front dooring it. He's starting to feel it out there a little bit on the mound.
Here's Morrison. Logan chops it. Smartza makes a nice play and a little toss. Nice job leaving the mound to make that play.
With the corner of the end zone. A little loft up and over the shoulder. Yeah, he had to go get this too. He wasn't going to have a whole lot of help. Look at Logan Morrison busting it down the line though.
Yeah, he's gathered that in before. Some of the form he had at Notre Dame.
Didn't even have to worry about getting hit.
Well, that was on that baseball side of the ledger.
Yeah, right.
The pros and cons. Now Steve Pearce. Strike one. Rays had back-to-back hits in the second from Logan Morrison and Steve Pearce, and that's all so far. That started the inning, and they were left on. Marza has retired 8 in a row since the hit by Pearce. And he's ahead 0-2.
Add and subtract with the breaking ball. We've seen it 86, 87. That one down in the low 80s. That's what I mean. When you see a pitcher starting to take a certain pitch and add, subtract with it a little bit more with the fastball, run it up there at 95, 96, he is feeling froggy out there on the mound.
Last fastball up at 94. The fastball is fouled away. He's dropped the final game of the Seattle series yesterday, 6-4, game in which they committed 3 errors. Ground ball by the mound. Panic. The second baseman handles that, and it's a 1-2-3 fourth. 9 straight retired by Samardzija.
San Francisco Giants leading the Rays by a score of 4-0. And I'm pleased to be joined by a Vice President from Major League Baseball of Social Responsibility and Inclusion, Billy Beane, former Major Leaguer Billy Beane. And I got to start with this. You threw out the first pitch tonight to Evan Longoria. That was a straight strike down the middle, and a left-hander, no less.
Yeah, hopefully maybe there's a place back for me in the game. But, you know, it was a real thrill to represent the community tonight, and Evan was very generous. He was making fun of me before. You know, former players, you know, the thought is for every marginal player, there's always the fear of embarrassing yourself out there. And tonight, I just I think I got lucky and threw it over there pretty good.
Hey, just let it go. More importantly, obviously, you're here for a very special cause. You were supposed to be here in the first place for Pride Night, so that's big in and of itself. But being here in light of the tragic events that happened in Orlando this past weekend, it really shows the outpouring not only of support from Major League Baseball, but of this Tampa Bay community. What are your thoughts?
Well, the Tampa Bay Rays led the way all week long. We had obviously planned, this has been on the calendar. I came last year they invited me to come last year, same. But to see the effort they made to bring the community out to share that message of support. And, you know, the terrible tragedy happened to the LGBT community, it happened to the Latino community, but it also happened to the city of Orlando, and it could have happened to any group of people. And I think the message tonight is that Tampa, the Rays understand this amazing platform that baseball provides, and to bring people here and maybe put a smile on the face of a few people that have had just an unbelievable, unforgettable week. To me, I couldn't be happier to be here just to support it.
Maybe in a way to start the healing process, to aid in the healing process, and to help with the healing process with all the money that's been raised for tonight's event. You also had a chance to speak with the team prior to the game in the clubhouse. I'm wondering how that was.
Well, normally, I mean, I was surprised the manager, Kevin Cash, asked me to. I just wanted to share briefly how appreciative I was. The guys wore all these shirts on the field during BP. You know, the guys are young. They're not expected to know what's going on in their communities. Everyone's from all over the world in that clubhouse. Baseball brings so many different people together. But I just wanted to give them a little insight about what was going on during the week. And maybe if the media wanted to ask them after the game to be prepared, and that their organization was speaking loud and clear on their behalf. And I wanted to say thank you not only as a representative of the commissioner's office, but on behalf of all of baseball, because what they did today was extremely generous and very, very powerful.
You saw that We Are Orlando shirt on the field before the game, the players all wearing it in batting practice, and now you see all the fans wearing it tonight in the stands. 40,000 plus tickets sold to support the Orlando victims in that tragedy, and we appreciate you being here and leading the charge for MLB, and continued good work.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it.
Billy Bean, Vice President from MLB for Social Responsibility and Inclusion. Guys, back up to you.
All right, thank you, Rich. And by any terms, a success with this turnout and the direct support, more than just symbolic. Runner at second base, Brandon Belt. Pitch inside to Crawford. Brandon Crawford 1-0. Crawford doubled in 2 runs in the first. One. Good cut at the slider there. .88 pitches for Archer. 1 out and a base runner into the 5th. And a 2-1 count to Brandon Crawford. Lifts it into center. It's Jennings right there. 2 outs. And it brings up Matt Duffy, the young third baseman.
And those were 2 big outs too after the leadoff double. You can ill afford the Giants to continue to build on this lead that they already have, especially with the way that Samardzija is throwing the baseball right now.
Yeah, the Rays have been good at answering opponents' runs just to get something on the board to get back in. But Samardzija has been very, very good tonight. There's a strike to Duffy.
And getting better That's the thing. You're going to have to work to get him, take advantage of any mistake that he makes, because he's starting to feel it out there a little bit. Like you said, 4 innings of shutout baseball, looking more and more comfortable.
Nice pitch there. 0-2 slider. Some good break on that.
Very similar to the one he struck him out with in the first inning to end that first inning.
Did he go? He did not on that pitch in the dirt.
Let's take a look. Another slider that's down, and he's able to hold up. You know, velocity, which is what Chris Archer has, forces quick decisions. And then when you've got a breaking ball that has late, sharp bite, that's where you get those decisions where you're like, how can he swing at that? Well, you know, that decision's got to be made quick because you got to protect against that.
And then the fastball right out there on the edge. He strikes him out looking. Man left at second. Middle of the 5th, 4-0 San Francisco. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by Dodge. Visit your local dealer today. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. Tropicana Field tonight, opening game of the series, Rays and the Giants. Giants lead 4-0 as Corey Dickerson prepares to lead off the bottom of the 5th against Jeff Samardzija. Fastball is a strike. He had a 1-2-3 4th on the back end of a 1-2-3 3rd. Gave up 2 hits back-to-back to open the 2nd, and since then has retired 9 in a row. Skied left center. Pagan. Not exactly as planned, but he made the catch.
Boy, this is where that roof, I mean, they can wreak havoc on an outfield. You can see right there, he's already in trouble. And then stumbles over and a basket catch. Don't ever do that again.
Desmond Jennings. Strike 1. 1-1. Two and one to count. That's the fastball. Smarja has been in the mid-90s and easily so.
Yeah, I mean, he really reaches back and gets those couple extra miles an hour. The cutter, that's that one down there in that 91, 92 that he'll cut away to the right. As we saw a front door to Evan Longoria.
Liner and a base hit over Panic's head. So there's a base hit for Jennings. Blanco returns the ball to the infield. 10 in a row retired until the base hit by Desmond Jennings.
Well, staying behind this fastball, trying to drive it down and away. Really, that's all Desmond Jennings can do. You take that, and it's a borderline pitch that may go against you. So just get the barrel out there and hit that ball the other way. That was a nice job with 2 strikes. It gives the Rays a base runner. They haven't had one of those in a while.
Jeff Decker put the ball to the warning track in center field. Dead center he hit that ball. Ball 1. Blue Jays last report in the top of the 5th had an 11-2 lead in Baltimore. They had a 7-run 4th inning. Michael Saunders has hit a couple of home runs tonight. He's 13th and 14th. Donaldson and Smoke of homer. 17 for Donaldson. Ground ball by the mound to short. Crawford picks it up, steps on the bag, and makes the throw to end the inning with a 6-3 double play. The end of 5, 4-0 San Francisco. Giants open the scoring in the first. 2-base hit by Brandon Crawford scores Belton Posey after Archer retired the first 2. 2 more runs for the Giants in the 4th. Roger Blanco, the right fielder, with a base hit to center, scoring Crawford and Pagan. Jeff Smarja has taken care of the rest.
He has been very, very good, and as the game has moved along, making pitches. You had that streak of, what, 10 in a row. Then he gives up a base hit, immediately gets a double play ball.
Angel Pagan leads it off. The pitch is a strike. Pagan played a big part of that fourth inning when the Rays thought they had retired him, but catcher's interference was called. And the Giants went on to build a 2-run inning out of that. Two strikes the count. Eddie Romero up. Archer at 95 pitches right now. Strike 3 call. Fastball caught him looking. Only number 7.
And that's the second time we've seen that fastball in freezing a guy. You know, Chris Archer, with these lefties especially, you're thinking about that slider. And look at Pagan jumping away from that pitch that's clearly over the plate. Catches actually a good third of the plate. Pagan is starting to jump back. Pitcher not really accounting for. And there you go.
Jared Parker, he singled and walked. Foul out of play for a strike. One ball, one strike. Ball, 2 strikes. Eight hits in this game. San Francisco with 5 of them. They have all 4 runs. Broken bat, the ground ball third. Longoria gets rid of it, had a little trouble eventually finding the hand. A little double pump there, and that's going to be a base hit. And the bat exploded, barreled into the third base side of the mound this time.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what exactly happened here. Evan Longoria is so good at these types of plays. Let's see, coming out of the gut, yeah, just initially didn't have complete control of the baseball. Right there. Got to regroup, and that right there is the difference. That's the margin of error that you don't have. Almost looked like his hand got caught up on the top of the webbing of his glove initially, and that's what led to the problem.
The infield hit puts Parker aboard with 1 out. Gregor Blanco. Strike 1. Archer just over 100 pitches. Step back, and now he's calling Casale out. Crawford with 2 runs batted in. Blanco with 2 tonight. 1-2 the count. Top of the order, and the left-handed bat of Denard Span. In the center, Jennings coming on. He got there. Desmond Jennings straight ahead, a little sliding catch. Kept the glove up there to grab it and held on.
One of the more difficult catches to make, coming straight in on that little looping liner. It's all about the jump. Ball off the bat, a good read, better finish. Slide just a little bit to the side so you're not catching that ball directly in front of you if you can. And he makes a nice play.
Now Span looks at a strike. He's up for the 4th time, 0 for 3 with a couple strikeouts. One. Parker first. Two balls and a strike. The Giants have run off this stretch, and they are without Hunter Pence. He had a hamstring surgery, and they're not sure. They say maybe back in August.
Yeah, hamstring surgery, you know, pulled hamstring, and depending on the severity of it, bad enough. Surgery,
yeah,
not good.
I saw that. That was only a little over a week ago that occurred, and they're saying maybe August. I mean, maybe late August.
I mean, you just wonder how extensive the surgery was, because you think about any type of surgery, the scar tissue, and the hamstring is one of those muscles. It needs to be elongated, or you're going to have issues.
Yep.
So that, I'm sure, a tricky rehab, and one that you've got to get right. Very, very important. And he's such an important part of this team.
Sure is, in more ways than one. What he can give you on the field, but some of the intangibles they talk about. Runner goes, the pitch is high, throw down, he is out at second base. Brad Miller puts the tag on Parker, who is caught stealing. We're going to go to the bottom of the 6th. Miller tags him out. 4-0 San Francisco.
As we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning, Kurt Casale leading things off. We are way upstairs, guys, up in the 300 level, an area that normally would be tarped off. But tonight, with the huge crowds here for this special night on Pride Night, dedicated to the victims of the shootings in Orlando, as Kurt Casale sends one down the right field line, and that is caught right before the wall. Nice play there by Gregor Blanco for the first out. So this is an area, we're up by the catwalks. This is an area normally tarped off. Tonight, with the responses after the Rays announced $5 tickets, all the proceeds benefiting the Pulse Victims Fund. This community showed up in droves to the point where they had to take the tarps off. Tonight, we're going to get over 40,000 fans for the first time in a regular season game since 2006 season opener here at Tropicana Field, and the first time in a regular season game non-opener since 2004 in July 19th against the Yankees. So a big night here, a lot of family, friends, community members showing up in response to show their commitment and their unity and inclusion with the city of Orlando. So guys, here we are. I mean, this is a section normally that would be tarped off. Instead, Rays fans looking for a rally. For now, let's go back to Dwayne and BA.
Yeah, they can make some noise up there. The Rays need to make a little noise. Down by 4. And there's strike 2 to Logan Forsythe. 2 strikes the count. One and 2 now. Forsythe hit the ball a long way to the warning track and right in the 3rd, sending Blanco back. The Rays have just the 3 hits. Morrison and Pierce in the 2nd, Jennings in the 5th. 3 hits off this big right-hander Jeff Samardzija. It's 2-2. Now talking about that big crowd in 06, the opener. That was against Baltimore, at 40,199 in that one. And just under 42,000 here in 2010 in the ALDS against Texas. 41,800 plus. Ground ball, diving stop, Duffy at 3rd. The throw to first, they got him. Oh, what a play again by Duffy. He is impressive indeed. And Kevin Cash wants to take a moment, get a little video report on this one.
Boy, able to get that ball glove side, the throw, the scoop, and that is a tremendous play. We saw a shot by Evan Longoria and a nifty backhand, and then how about the forehand dive? A little bit of help on the other end there by Belt.
And that's the other thing about this San Francisco club. We talked about the blue collar workman approach, top to bottom in this lineup. They're defenders. They're all plus infield defenders. I mean, significant pluses too. Duffy, as you pointed out, a converted shortstop playing 3rd. Crawford outstanding at shortstop. Panic at 2nd. Belt at 1st. All plus defenders.
And they don't make errors. You know, not only, like you said, do they get to more than most, but they make the plays and they make it happen.
And then they have Posey behind the plate,
who, by the way, has gotten better and better. You know, coming into this season, the stolen base success rate off of him was about 75%, and this year he's cut it to below 50. So with one pass ball, by the way, this season, one pass ball.
Two outs, bases empty, 2-1 on Miller. So when you look at the San Francisco club, they may not be marquee, but they do a lot of things right. They get great at bats, top to bottom. We've seen that inner defense is outstanding.
Don't beat yourself. Don't beat yourself.
Full count on Miller. Bit of that one to stay alive, fouling it back. Seattle has an 8-2 lead at Fenway on the Red Sox. That game's in the middle of the 7th. Last time we checked the particulars, Franklin Gutierrez had 6 runs batted in that game, 2 homers and a double. A high pop fly into center. Denard Span keeps his eye on this one and makes the catch. A 1-2-3 6th on to the 7th, 4-0. Out of the game after 6.
Well, Chris Archer, it was that first inning that got him again. 2 up, 2 down, and all of a sudden a 2-out walk, a double by Posey. Brandon Crawford gets him there, and then he would start to go to work with the off speed, a slider, that changeup there, another changeup, picking up some strikeouts. Good one there to Buster Posey. And add on a couple of more runs, the Giants would, and after those 6 innings, you see the 7 strikeouts, but the 3 walks and the 4 runs.
Well, Denard Span was at the plate on the top of the 6th. Ended. Parker caught stealing. Eddie Romero replaces Archer. So it's Span, Panic, and Belt. Strike again, 0-2. 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned for Archer. 7 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a wild pitch. One and 2. Romero last pitch Sunday in the Houston series. Ground ball. He's going to have to cover first. Morrison. The throw in time. Romero got over there. He's a big target over there with the reach.
Needed some of it there too. Logan Morrison has to turn his back here for a split second. Now pick him up, lead him to the bag. Yeah, catch the ball and find that bag with your foot. Easier said than done. Oh, by the way, don't get it stepped on. That's why you work on this 20 minutes a day, every day in spring training.
Put the play down and you keep yourself in shape.
That's exactly right.
Panik takes the pitch running outside. Panik 0 for 3 tonight. 1-1.
That last play, that nice little play by Logan Morrison, I'm not sure that we saw that from every angle that we have. We could probably go back to it and finish it off from the other two cameras.
Just in case you didn't see it the first time.
Right.
Here's the 6th time. Forsythe takes care of that. Panik is out of there.
I'm going to be seeing that play in my sleep.
Well, let's take another look.
Look at him go. See, that's it. Instinct. You know, right when that ball is hit to the right side, you can always pull back, but you got to go make a play. Logan Morrison vacates. Now you got to be there. I'll never unsee that play. I will never unsee that play.
It's in there. Here's Brandon Belt. Walked and doubled. 1 for 2 officially. 1-1. Bell hits this one a long way back into center. That one is out of here. He turns around a fastball 98 from the big lefty and hits it out. His 9th home run. It's 5-0.
I mean, all you can say is wow. Impressive bat speed to match up with the velocity of that fastball and get it out of here.
So the long ball adds a run. 5-0 the score. Mr. Posey doubled and scored in the first, giving him 1 for 3 tonight. So Belt takes over the Giant home run lead. He and Posey had been tied at 8. 9 for Belt. Posey still sitting at 8. A 2-2 count on Posey right now. Three and 2. He walks. 4th walk issued to the Giants.
Number 35, Brandon Crawford.
And then we'll get Brandon Crawford to the plate. He opened the scoring with his first inning double. Then opened the 4th with a walk, and that led to 2 runs in the 4th inning. It's a big cut and fouls the fastball straight back.
Well, and what we saw from this lineup, the bottom of this lineup in the 4th inning, able to put together In an inning where they scored 2 runs, it's top to bottom. You're going to work your way through this lineup. That's just the bottom line.
One ball, one strike. Well, they're going to make you work because they work.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's not one of those lineups where, 3 or 4 guys in the middle of it are sitting at 12, 15 home runs. They got some power in the lineup, not a ton of it, but they've got some. But it's just they grind out at bats. They force you to make pitches. You get them to 2 strikes, they foul some pitches off. They've limited their strikeouts as a group. And they just, every out that you get, you're going to earn.
At the top of the zone.
I'll tell you, we've seen some adjustments made by hitters. Get fooled with a pitch first time up, be able to come back, and that same pitch, go get it second, third time up.
And Romero started to walk off. He thought he had a strikeout there.
He did. He absolutely did. I don't know how this one gets missed. And there's been a number of these here tonight. Inside corner. Had a good look at it too.
3-2. There's a cut and a miss. So a strikeout of Crawford. They score 1 on the home run by Brandon Belt. They leave a man in the middle of the 7th inning here. Rays are down 5-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we ask at this time that you please rise.
America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
All right, Rays fans, we are very...
Bottom of the 7th inning. Jeff Samardzija has had his way with this lineup so far tonight. No runs, 3 hits. And so as he tries to work his way through the lineup a third time, Evan Longoria will lead off the home half of the seventh. See if the Rays can get something going. Pitch is a strike on that outside corner, and not only has Samardzija had great velocity, he's been pretty pinpoint.
He really, really has on both sides of the plate. Buster Posey asking for this pitch up.
And a liner caught by Crawford at short.
That's what you're talking about. You've got these elite defenders on the infield. Made that look pretty easy. Another ball smoked by Evan Longoria. Another San Francisco Giant infielder making it look like no big deal. Watch him just play this off to the side. Okay.
Think about Longoria's night for a moment. Smoked the ball down to third in the first.
Yep.
Called out on a front door cutter the next time up. Great pitch. And then he just smoked the ball there and lined to short.
And that's all you can do. You know, you talk to these hitters and what they're going to tell you is they want to go up and have a good quality at bat that ends in me hitting the ball hard. And if I do that, I'm gonna get my fair share of hits, and he's rocketed 2 out there tonight. Nothing to show for it.
1-0 the count on Logan Morrison. Ground ball from short right. Panic up with this one and throws him out. You know, technically no shift on there, but Panic was playing a shallow right field.
And you'll do that. Listen, you've got to respect Logan Morrison getting down the line because he does hustle. But you can afford yourself. He's not a speedster. And so you can afford yourself a little bit of room out there for a second baseman. That increases your range. And, you know, you've got to hurry and still get the throw over there. But, you know, it allows you a little lateral movement, a little bit more of it.
Here's Steve Pearce. He has a base hit, 2 at bats. Samardzija, who'd come in his last 3 starts with an earned run average of 736, has returned to form. The form he had in his first 10 starts. He's been very sharp tonight. He jams Pearce there, and Pearce fouls it back. That's mid-90s in. Good luck.
Yeah, with a little, you know, arm side run.
Yep.
And that's what makes him difficult, especially when he's on like he is tonight. He can throw that ball in, but then he'll cut it away. So it moving in 2 separate directions on, you know, both sides of the plate. That's tough to have coverage of all that.
Chopper, oh, a nice pick there and a double pump. He has time and makes the play, and again Duffy, shortstop playing third, makes a nice play. Through 7, the Giants have built a 5-0 lead over the Rays. Chris Archer worked the front 6, gave up 4 of the 5 runs, 3 earned. Matt Duffy fouls it away to lead off the 8th. Duffy 0 for 3. Last year as a rookie at .295 with 12 home runs. Came into this game hitting .251 this year. Bounces it foul, and it's Roberto Kelly with the pickup. Former center fielder. The Yankees, the Reds. Showing some good hands there in the coaching box at third.
You never lose the hands.
Yep.
Other things may go, but quick, soft hands.
Duffy's out on strikes for the 3rd time. One away in the 8th. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. Pre-game show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Matt Moore will make the start for the Rays. We'll hear from him, and Orestes will break down Brandon Belt, who's been on 3 times tonight, including hitting his 9th home run of the year. Angel Pagan takes the pitch too low. One. Two and one. Crowd of over 40,000 here tonight. 40,135. The largest since the opener against Baltimore in 2006 in April. 40,199. Three and one the count. Now it goes to 3-2 with that foul ball. Second inning of work for Romero.
Pepper in that strike zone, though. All over it.
And another foul ball. It went up a bit, but Pagan not taking any chances, no matter how high that was. He'd foul that one back.
Anytime you feel like there's a borderline pitch in a 2-strike situation, you want to take the matters into your own hands and not leave it up to the home plate umpire, who tonight there's been some inconsistency. There's been some missed calls both ways.
Foul outside of third.
You know, and that's something that these players get a feeling for quickly into a game. You know, the home plate umpire, consistent. Are some of these pitches a coin flip? And once you make that determination, you know on those close ones you've got to swing, because you're just not sure how the call's going to go.
Strike 3. Weapon down and off the knees. Got him looking.
Yeah, these are the ones that you always wonder about, because you know that Eddie Romero's big weapon, it's fastball, slider. Both of them are hard. But first and foremost, the fastball. He comes with the fastball here that's not questionable. And it's right down the middle, and you sit on it. A little late with that swing. About a second and a half earlier, he had a shot.
Well, 2 up, 2 down. That's 3 strikeouts in a row. And now Trevor Brown, young catcher, will pinch hit. The pinch hitter presented by Pinch-A-Penny. Brown is hitting for Parker, who had 2 hits and a walk tonight. Down 2 strikes quickly against Romero. One and 2. There's a swing and a miss. He's out on strikes. Romero strikes out the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 5-0 San Francisco. Sports Zone brought to you by your Tampa Bay BMW Centers. Visit BMWTampaBay.com for exceptional offers. By Dodge, visit your local dealer today. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. It has been a dominating performance by Jeff Samardzija tonight. 31-year-old right-hander Corey Dickerson will open the bottom of the 8th inning against him. 1-0 the count. Count of 2 balls, no strikes here on Dickerson. Steve Geltz up in the bullpen, just back from Durham. High fly ball. Span in center calling for it. One away.
Well, Jeff Samardzija has been outstanding. And what can you say as this game has moved along? The stuff has gotten better and better. He's worked well to both sides of the plate. That front door cutter. Boy, once you saw him throw that pitch to get Evan Longoria in his second at bat, you knew that he was feeling pretty good out there, and he's just continued to build off of that. The cutter, the fastball, they've been outstanding. He's stayed away from the walk, got some help from his infield, from his outfield.
And just 89 pitches, 1 out into the 8th. So there's some economy of scale right there. Just a 7-pitch 7th inning. And he's quickly ahead of Desmond Jennings, 0-2.
Oh, and he's worked Desmond in and out. You're just not sure at this point, if you're Desmond Jennings, what side of the plate he's going to go to. You got to be ready to cover everything. There's that front door cutter. I mean, that's just filthy. Filthy. Yeah, you get strike 2 on a pitch that's away. So now you're thinking, I got to cover everything because he's beat me with the fastball in. He's worked the cutter away. And now all of a sudden he's going to start a cutter off the plate. Oh, I give up on it, and it cuts right to the corner, close enough to get the call. That's just not much you can do about that pitch.
Well, he had a run earlier in the game from the 2nd inning to the 1st out in the 5th when he retired 10 in a row. He's now retired 9 straight. Jeff Decker takes a look at a pitch outside.
Yeah, and the one that he didn't retire was Desmond Jennings with actually a good base hit the other way in a 2-strike count. Immediately, it was a good pitch.
Yep.
And then he immediately gets doubled up.
Yep. Strike. So what that means, he's retired 19 of the last 20 men he's faced. And that base hit was on a good pitch. That's how dominating he has been. Two balls and a strike. Comes back with a strike to square the count. Fly ball toward the line, angling toward the corner. Pagan there makes the catch. Rays are out 1-2-3 in the 8th. We go to the 9th. 5-0 Giants. The series, Rays and the Giants in interleague play. Coming up, Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. Fellas working hard to give you a great show. Stay around for that. We'll hear from Kevin Cash in his press conference. We'll have interviews from the clubhouse. Steve Gelb's back in a Rays uniform. He's on to make his 18th appearance for the Rays.
It looks like Steve brought out a new glove. That glove looks like it's just out of the box. Ready to get some outs.
Gregor Blanco will be the first man he faces. The right fielder. Then around to the top of the order, Denard Span and Joe Panik. This pitch, fastball is a strike. Two with that foul ball. Middle game of the series tomorrow. Matt Moore against Albert Suarez. Right-hander from the Giants and the Rays lefty. Wide on that one. It's 1-2. Archer worked 6, gave up 4 runs, 3 earned. Eddie Romero pitched 2, struck out 4, walked 1, gave up a run that came on a home run by Brandon Belt. 2 to Blanco, and there's Denard Span on deck. Forsythe handles that. So that is the first out. Matt Moore coming off a very good start.
Very good against the Houston Astros. 7 shutout innings. How about the 2 hits, just 1 walk, double-digit strikeouts, and he had really command of all of his pitches and all parts of the strike zone. And you know, that's one of those outings you can really build off of and get some momentum going. And the Rays are certainly, barring a bottom of the 9th miracle here, are going to certainly need that out of Matt Moore tomorrow to set the tone.
1-0. The Rays should have Moore tomorrow and Odorizzi on Sunday. Suarez for the Giants tomorrow, and it would appear Jake Peavy will pitch Sunday. 1-1 to count. Ball, 2 strikes. Span stays alive, fouling that one away. The Rays came into this game 2 under 500. Dropping yesterday's game to Seattle, missing a chance to get to the 500 mark. That really is the initial goal for Kevin Cash in this club. Get to 500. Get there and then try to build from there.
You know, they've come a long way back to get close. Had an opportunity to get there in yesterday's ball game.
Span out on strikes over that pitch. Bottom fell out. Look at the split.
Yes, look at the tumble and the bottoming out.
It's 12 strikeouts tonight for Rays pitching. Joe Panik. He takes a strike. Panik nothing of 4 for the Giants. Crawford a couple of runs batted in. Blanco with 2 and Belt 1 on the home run. The Rays in the bottom of the 9th set to have Casale scheduled to lead off, then Forsythe and Miller. Another thing about this pitching performance by Samardzija, the Giants appear to be without Santiago Casilla, their closer. He's on paternity leave and probably will miss this weekend series. Samardzija has commandeered the pitching duties and has given them 8 superb innings tonight. Two now to Panik. It's been the pitch of decision here for Geltz in this inning. 2-2 to Blanco, got him on a ground ball. 2-2 to Span, struck him out swinging. 2-2 to Panik, and he strikes him out with the fastball. Nice inning here in the 9th for Geltz. Bottom of the 9th coming. Rays need 5. We go now to the bottom of the 9th inning. Jeff Samardzija with 8 innings under his belt and 96 pitches has retired 20 of the last 21 hitters to face him. Curt Casale will open the 9th. 4 strikeouts, no walked, just 3 hits. And a cut and a miss, strike 1. Casale struck out swinging in the 3rd, fouled out down into the right field corner. Blanco made the catch in the 6th inning. Ground ball, 2 strikes. It's Forsythe on deck. High popper right side toward the line. Blanco, the right fielder, makes the grab.
Another thing that's been impressive about Samardzija tonight is his ability to, to work that cutter up and down. We've seen a number of times on purpose going up with that pitch. Buster Posey calling for it up, trying to change eye levels. Still able to get that up there, 91, 92 miles an hour. And the efficiency, Dwayne, that you just spoke of. Your top inning so far is 16. It's pretty good.
At 100 right now. 1 out into the 9th. Forsythe fouls the fastball. Mid-90s, 94 on that one.
Still with the good velocity. We've seen him get it up there to 96. Location has been actually better, if you can believe that. I guess by the lack of runs for the Rays, really lack of any threat against Samardzija, you can. He's been outstanding.
Well, the Rays got a man as far as second base back in the 2nd inning. 4th hitter of the game. Logan Morrison singled. Pierce singled to center. That put him in at 1st and 2nd. And not much since then, with the exception of the Desmond Jennings base hit in the 5th. Forsythe fouls it away. It's a ball, 2 strikes. He's had 5 3-ball counts tonight and only 1 since the 3rd inning. He's 2-2 with Logan Forsythe. Ground ball, 3rd, backhanded by Duffy in the throw. Another outstanding play by Matt Duffy at 3rd. Well, we've seen superb work from Jeff Samardzija, and he's been backed up with outstanding infield work.
Yeah, and that's that tough in-between hop. So not only do you not get exactly the hop that you want, you've got to make a backhand on it, moving towards the line. Well done. Nice throw on the run. Well, he's been impressive.
Brad Miller. Pitch is down. A couple of ground ball outs and a fly ball to center for Miller. That ball deep down the left side, but slicing foul. Popped up. That's going to be out of play. 1-2. Samardzija's retired the last 12 men to face him. 22 out of 23. And ahead of Miller, 1-2, 2 outs in the ninth. Pitch inside. Samardzija thought he might have completed his evening with that pitch.
It's close. Not yet.
Two and two. He just missed wide. Tried to bring that one in the back door on that slider.
Just left it off the plate. That's where Buster Posey, he wanted it. Give him that sign, told him to keep that ball down. Just off the edge.
There's a shot toward left center field. That ball is gone. Brad Miller lines this one out of here. A fastball into left center field, and that breaks up the shutout. It's 5-1.
I'm going to tell you something. Brad Miller, that ball comes off his bat hot. I mean, this is a line drive the other way. Most of the time you see that trajectory off of a swing, it's a double in the gap. This ball just does not come down. I mean, that's some juice.
Here's Longoria taking a cut at a slider and missing. Strike one.
And I'm going to tell you something. The reaction of Jeff Samardzija when that ball got out of here, he was livid with Scott Perry behind the plate. I was wondering if he was even going to stay in this game. I mean, he had some things to say.
2. Slider gets Longoria on the chase. Well, here's the home run, and then you'll see Samardzija. The tap toward the middle, handing Stoner first, and this game is over. It's a 5-1 final. Samardzija goes the distance. The Rays deny him the shutout on the home run by Brad Miller. Samardzija 8-4, Archer the loser, 4-9 before 40,135 at Tropicana Field. Brian Anderson, Todd Callis, and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats. Hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome. We'll be with you tomorrow, 3:30, middle game of this series. Coming up next, Rays Live, the postgame, presented by Checkers.